Hi everyone, I'm Frank Martignetti, a past dean of the Greater Bridgeport Chapter of the AGO, current treasurer, and I'm here with my colleague and friend Carole Fanslow. Carole is one of our longest term chapter members. She is the only person who has served as chapter dean twice, non-consecutively, from 1970 to 1972, and then as co-dean from 1995 to 1997. And in honor of her long and illustrious career and community work, and in honor of the chapter's 70th anniversary, we've doing an oral history interview with Carole about her life and career and the history of the chapter. So, Carole, thanks for having us over, and thanks for making time for this.
Welcome. Thanks, Frank. Thank you for considering me.
Oh, we started with you. I mean, come on. So now I know Alan was from this area. Are you from this area as well?
I grew up in Bridgeport.
Okay.
Moved to Stratford when we came back from the Army.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband was a Devon boy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And he went to Yale, and he then worked
He
at
went to
Guilford Hospital.
Yale and New York Medical College and all that to become an anesthesiologist.
Mm-hmm. Oh. So when did you buy this house?
We bought this house in 1960. It was a model home. So it came equipped with draperies and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an all-electric home. So when the monthly bills come, I shudder a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we've been here since 1960. Watched the neighborhood change. I am the only one now that from the original buyers. So.
Wow. So tell me about how you became an organist.
I first was a pianist, but then going to my former church, which is now Unity Hill in Trumbull, I decided to apply for the job of organist. And I was there for maybe 4 decades until our pastor decided he wanted something different in music. So anyway, so I decided to retire. But then I went up to Easton Congregational, where I served for almost 2 years. And that was during the pandemic. So in their hall, we had a piano, but then the pastor decided it was time to go to the sanctuary across the street. And the organ was up 2 flights of stairs, and I had just had back surgery, and I said, no, that's enough. I'm finished.
Fair enough.
So I enjoy subbing once in a while.
Mm-hmm. So you were at one of the churches that merged to become Unity Hill?
Correct.
And which church was that?
So we were originally First Evangelical, a Reformed church. Then we joined the United Church of Christ. And then in 1988, we merged with Park Street Congregational Church, and then we became Trinity United Church of Christ. And then finally, Unity Hill United Church of Christ.
Wow. And those first 2 congregations were in Bridgeport?
Yes. Ours was on Congress Street. It's now a parking lot, I think, for the police department. It was supposed to be for low-income housing. And then Park Street Congregational is over on the east side, and the building is still there.
Okay. So you played at the church near the police, that's now a parking lot. You played there, and then you played at Unity Hill.
Right, and then in 74, our church moved up to Trumbull, and I was still the organist, and handbell director and choir director.
So you served there for 40 years, you said?
A long time.
Yeah, a very long time. Wow, it's just amazing to be at one congregation for such a long period of time, through so much change.
It was nice to be there to be a member, but it was hard. Our new organist is not a member of the church, so that makes it a little bit difficult.
Sure. So what were some of the highlights of your 40-year career up there?
Well, I think serving as dean of the chapter. We were able to, our chapter hosted one of the regionals, and I tried to find that date, but I couldn't. But it was held in Bridgeport and Westport and Danbury, so we had a day in each. Paul Knox was the dean of the convention, along with Alice Evans, and we had it in June. I believe it was the first week of June, and people said, who's going to come? Everybody's still working, but they came, and the Strathfield Hotel was our host place, and then, but it was really fun because we had a day in Westport. We went to in Danbury, we went to the Charles Ives Museum, and we had concerts all over, so it was something that we should be proud of, and we called it the Regional by the Sea, and only one of the participants, I can't remember her name now, but she kept saying, "Where's the sea?" And I said, "Well, if you get down Main Street, you'll find Seaside Park." And so before she left, I took her down there. I said, you know, there it is, Seaside Park.
That's wonderful. So at your church you had an adult choir and a handbell choir that you directed?
Right, right. It was a small choir, but the handbells, and then I was part of a handbell choir in Stratford, in this area. And so then I took it over, and it became the festive ringers. And so in the spring and the fall we would go on our tours.
Oh, where did you perform with them?
Probably nursing homes, Milford Hospital we did at their celebration of trees. But at Unity Hill we did have a good choir.
That's great. Did your husband Alan sing in your choir?
He played handbells, and I don't know, he wasn't keeping time with everybody else, and so I fired him, and somebody said, "How can you do that?" I said, "I just did." So anyway, he was still a strong supporter, but he wasn't a ringer anymore.
Oh, that's funny. What were some of your biggest challenges as a church musician?
I think getting people involved. I mean, we had strong support, but occasionally someone would be sick, and you know, the choir sort of dwindled. We don't have a choir right now, mainly because of the pandemic, and but Unity Hill has 4 or 5 people to play the handbells. So when I sit and listen to them, I'll go, well, they did pretty well. But the festive ringers, because a couple people dropped out, and I would say you can always replace a singer, but you can't replace a ringer.
You found it harder to get handbell players than you did singers, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
they were good. I mean, we had a good reputation, and we usually had more gigs than we had time to perform them. So I think we were, because a couple of the other congregations weren't having bells anymore, which was sad, but whatever.
Yeah.
Sign of the times.
So I know you do a lot of volunteer work in the community, including Churchwomen United and the Greater Bridgeport Council of Churches. And did that kind of come from your church work, or was it a separate thing, or how did that interact with your career in the AGO at all?
I don't know. I think it just fell into it. I enjoy volunteering, and through the pandemic it's been sort of hard to get people together.
Yeah, very.
And you know, we've been doing it by Zoom, but we are having a crop hunger walk on Sunday, May 1st, and this is our 48th.
Wow.
So.
And how many of those have you been a part of?
Mostly all of them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
When we began, it was 15 miles, and now we're kinder to each other. So now it's 2.2 miles.
Okay.
You know,
right.
but we still get it done, and so I'm pretty active in that, and stuff around, you know, the church community. I am.
That's wonderful. So what year did you join the Greater Bridgeport Chapter of the AGO?
Well, I joined in 57. We weren't even born then.
No.
Joined in for 57, I believe I just graduated from high school, and it was like several weeks or something before we were getting married. And I don't know, I just felt it was something I should do. I knew the deans at the time, and maybe they convinced me to join. So, proud member of the chapter.
Very proud, yeah. What was the chapter like then? It was only, I think, 9 years old then.
We were pretty active. As I say, we did the regional. We had a competition under Harris Bartlett for young people. We had a flea market one time. We came up for a fundraiser and we titled it "What do you do with your old tubas?" And so it was held in our church parking lot, but that was very successful. It was a good chapter. I mean, we were very active, producing lots of good deans, and active nationally and locally, and with the other chapters also.
Now, did Fairfield West chapter exist then, or did it come later?
Came later. I believe we were all one, and then we just split off. That I'm not sure about.
Okay.
But ours used to be just a Greater Bridgeport AGO chapter.
Nice. What highs and lows have you seen in the chapter throughout your many years?
Good people dying or moving away. And with the COVID, with the pandemic, I think it's been very hard getting together.
Yeah.
But the chapter has been very creative in programs on Zoom, and so now that the pandemic or the COVID is easing off, hopefully we can all get together in person.
It's happening, for sure. For sure. So, as I said before, you're the only person who served as dean twice in 2 different decades, from 1970 to 72, and then as co-dean from 95 to 97. How were your 2 terms different? How are they the same?
That's a good question. Serving with Kitty Hubbard was a pleasure. 2 heads better than one. When the first term of being dean, we were just very active. We had good chapter meetings and good participation. I can't remember the second term that much, but
kind of a blur. Yeah. So, who were some of the people you were really close to in the chapter through the years who aren't with us anymore? Some of them I got to meet, but I knew them late in life, so I don't really know them.
Well, Paul Knox was my teacher at UB.
That's right. You're UB Music alum.
Right.
I forgot that.
And so my degree came from there. Paul was very patient with me, but he was a good organist and a good friend. And I would say, and I'm still, if I see Barbara Bears, if she comes to something, or
Where was Barbara? Where was her church?
It's a good question.
I don't remember where she was.
Originally, I'm not sure.
I know Paul was at United for 30 years,
or
and then
whatever. And I think he'd be very unhappy to see. I don't even know where the organ went.
Yeah, Austin has it in storage.
Oh, okay.
And then he went to First Church Fairfield.
Correct.
Where I am now. I actually have his complete Bach edition sitting in my office.
But Paul was a great mentor.
Yeah, wonderful man.
Very patient, and I would say a really, really good friend.
Nice. Who else?
Oh, Alice Evans and Dorothy Partridge, who was at Golden Hill in Bridgeport.
Oh, okay.
I can see.
Was she involved with the symphony too? That name sounds familiar.
I don't think
I
so.
don't know, okay, just the name rings a bell. Oh, just because she was a dean.
So, and Brian Kirk,
Mhm.
Brian is still around. I think he's up in New York State
Yes, that's
area.
right. Yeah.
And some of the old, Louise Miller, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she left a wonderful legacy at First Church in Stratford.
Yeah.
And Pat Brown, and they were all just in Sonia Shopik. I mean, she was a
I knew
great
Sonia.
friend.
She used to substitute for me. That's when I was at St. Paul's,
Yeah.
Bridgeport.
But no, it was, I was in a good league with the past teams.
What would you want the next generation to know about these people, some of these people that you knew and that mentored you?
That they were great founders and great leaders. I can't really name someone right now that in this generation. I'm not sure if it's the same feeling for the chapter that others have. I mean, our co-deans are doing a great job, and I hope they continue to do that. So.
For sure. Is there anything else you'd like people to know about the history of the chapter?
Just a great history. 75 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how old the other chapters are. I think we're the oldest.
In Connecticut, we're one of the. We're certainly one of the.
Yeah.
Maybe Hartford is older.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's a long, rich history. I mean, I joined the chapter. I remember the 60th anniversary. I wasn't here for the 50th anniversary, but
I remember that.
I came to this area in 2002.
Okay.
So I've seen I've seen a nice chunk of the history, but you've seen almost all of it.
I think, in the past, I think the members were a little more involved in what was going on. And I'm sure, once there's COVID and once we lift our masks, that people will be back supporting us.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think so too. Yeah. I think that our profession, you're kind of lonely up in the choir loft. We need community. We need to learn new things. We need each other. We need support. We need friendships. It's really, really important.
I played at Christmas time. The pastor from Olivet Congregational asked me to play a Sunday morning service, and there were only 4 people in the sanctuary.
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, maybe we get 8, maybe we get 10, but it's very sad. I mean, hopefully, when people are able to get back into church rather than sitting in front of, Zoom or YouTube or something, hopefully things will change.
Yeah, and that's been a small congregation for many, many years.
I mean, this morning at Unity Hill, we had like 20, but maybe 40 will tune in on YouTube, and I think people are still afraid to get together.
Yeah, no, it's coming back, but it's changing. We've had about anywhere from 50 to 120 on Sunday at my church, and obviously we have a few hundred members, so it's and we have about twice as many views of the live stream. So it's been a challenging time for church musicians.
But like when I went to First Church a couple weeks ago for Meg's farewell, I asked Dr. Joe if they were doing the Palm Sunday concert. They've done that for like 40 some odd years, and he said they're not doing it this year.
Yeah, not yet.
So it's just, I don't know. I get rather disgusted, and
it's a tough time.
It gets to be lonely as a church musician. I mean, I played one service at Christmas time, and there were just the pastor and a technician and the soloist and me.
Yep. It's just us and the camera.
No joyful singing.
Yeah, it's gonna come back for sure. We just started congregational singing last week, so it's happening slowly but surely. What do you hope for the future of church music in this area?
I think if we get, a couple of young people really excited in our chapter, maybe that'll spark some new interests. I don't know what the age group is now in the chapter.
It's
I mean,
it's a nice spread.
the co-deans are pretty young, so compared to me.
We've got 20s, 30s, 40s,
Okay,
50s. We've got everybody. We really do.
yeah.
Um,
But we need to ask them what they would like to see
yeah, we've done some
happen.
nice surveys, and
Yeah.
we yeah. So good. Well, thank you so much for sharing some history with us and sharing about yourself
very
and your
welcome.
life, and it's really been a pleasure.
Thank you. Best wishes.